Have you ever heard someone pray? And I mean really, really pray. Pray to God as if talking to a friend, with the fullest trust imaginable placed in God's hands. I feel fortunate enough to have been able to experience this type of prayer in January of 2020 during a CBF Virginia summit in Charlottesville. The guest speaker, who we called Reverend Brenda, told us her story of how God told her to become a pastor in spite of the racism and sexism she faced daily. After she was finished, she bowed her head and prayed. She prayed and she prayed like I had never heard anyone pray before. She asked God to help guide us, because it was us that had to save the world, and in order to save the world, we had to stay alive. And the only way that we could stay alive was to embrace who we were and embrace who God was. It was the kind of prayer where there's true silence at the end, not holding in a yawn silence, or when can we eat silence, or even when's the next thing I have to do silence. But silence where you know everyone in the room is truly thinking about what they just heard and nothing else. I'd imagine that's how the disciples felt after hearing Jesus' prayer, the one that was read to us just a few minutes ago. In it, we hear Jesus pray to God to protect and watch over his disciples after he leaves the earth. This was an extremely vulnerable moment in Jesus' life, as well as one that could easily be missed. Sandwiched between the washing of the disciples' feet and Jesus' betrayal in the garden, this prayer can often seem like a lull in the story. However, that is far from what it is. While it may be a quieter moment than the washing of the feet or the betrayal, I dare say that it is just as important, because it shows just how much Jesus cared for his disciples. It is a moment of desperation, but also of hope, and above all, of love. Of love for the people who stood beside him in his ministry. Of love for us. He begins his prayer by asking to help us to not be at odds, but as one. This seems simple enough, because where there is unity, there is possibility. I'll come back to that. One place I've seen that idea take hold in my own life is during my summers as a camper at Passport. Within camp, youth groups from all over the country, from different locations, socioeconomic backgrounds, and political beliefs come together and form bonds through mission work and worship. And through the unity that stems from Passport, possibilities emerge through every single mission site where the youth have worked, whether it be gardening or construction or childcare. I'll repeat myself. Unity creates possibility. The second thing Jesus prays for is that we will not be of this world, but instead be in it. To be honest, this statement confused me at first, but after doing some research, I stumbled across a definition that made sense to me. It was that Christians are in the world in the sense that they occupy the same space, go to the same markets, and interact in the same society as non-Christians. They do not avoid the world. They recognize where God has placed them and do not run from reality. It is our job as Christians not to act above non-Christians, but instead to be their friends, their neighbors, their co-workers, and their classmates. Because our mission as Christians is not just unity with each other, but unity through all faiths. The third and final part of Jesus' prayer that I'd like to speak about today is that we might not be swept away, but instead set apart. So wait a minute. He wants us to unite within the church, unite with people outside of the church, and also be set apart? That doesn't make sense. But let's think about it. Because I really don't think that Jesus means that we should isolate ourselves and think ourselves better than those who don't believe what we believe. But instead, maybe it means the opposite. Maybe we should go into the world with love and acceptance for the people different than us. Maybe it is exactly what one of my favorite hymns says. They will know we are Christians by our love. That what should set Christians apart are not the words we say, how we dress, how often we go to church, or even how elegant our prayers are, but instead our actions, our love. You see, I believe in prayer. It is important in building our relationship with God. I also believe in action. After all, Jesus did not simply pray for his disciples, he took care of them. He washed their feet. Why should we be any different? Just as Jesus prayed for his disciples, we can pray for the people that we love. And then we can show them love, just as he showed his disciples love. Whether it is through a kind word or going out of your way to make someone feel good, it should be love that defines our actions. Because when love is the defining factor of our actions, unity can form. And where there is unity, there is possibility. When love is the defining factor of our actions, there is nothing that can't be done. Amen.